Hey everyone, so this is my mushroom sauce. What I'm going to do, here I've got 2 pounds of organic mushroom. So what I did is I threw this in some water, and what I'm doing is this has been grown in horse manure. And even though it's sterile, I just don't want those particles, because it's on there and I want to take it off, so I'm just going to rinse it very lightly and mix it with my hands, and it'll take that off and any sort of coating that's on the outside of it. And so take this, throw it in a small strainer. These are really handy. Get yourself one. I use it for everything. Okay, and then onto the food processor. So it's really time consuming to have to slice those by hand. I really don't want to do that. So on my food processor, I've got a slicing unit, and it doesn't need to be really fine, a fine cut. Okay, this is about half the mushrooms. Only took me a couple minutes to run these through. So this is my pot. Get one of these if you can. It's a little thin on the bottom. I could have got one that's a little thicker grade, but this will suit my purpose for what I'm doing. You might not be able to see it from here, but I used a hand punch and I punched the metal. So there's my punch marks. You can see there's the first one, and then there's the second one up there. And what these are measurements where I took this. You can get these mason jars. These are a standard issue. They actually have gradations marked out, stamped out here when they mold them. They throw them in the molds, and here's your pints and cups. So what this is, both of these together, this makes a whole gallon. So on my recipe, what I'm using is 2 pounds of mushrooms I'm going to boil this down to half a gallon, which will fit just right into one of these. Okay, now I have my gallon of water. What I'm going to do is I've got some really nice Himalayan salt that's mined in Tibet. So I'll take my Himalayan salt and I'll measure out a cup, a full cup, there we go, into there, and about a cup and a quarter. And I've found that this is about the right salinity to prevent any growth of mold when it ages. Okay. So I'm throwing in my mushrooms now. Okay, this is it with all the mushrooms in there. That's 2 pounds of mushrooms and a gallon of nice clean water. I'm going to bring this up to a boil. Give it a good stir. Okay, here I'm going to turn the heat down to pretty low. It's almost low to simmer, like really low. And then I'm going to put this back on and let it simmer all night, nice and slow. And then I'll check it every once in a while as it goes to see how far the water level has dropped down. And if I need to add more water, I will. But otherwise, it can pretty much go all night, or go all day. If you started this in the morning, then it would go all day until the evening. And so I'll be back to check it. Keep checking it. Okay, this is it. It's about 12 hours later. This is boiled down. Here's a little, you can see a little closer here. It's a nice mushroom stock that's all reduced. The longer you let it go, the more flavor that the water is going to absorb from the mushrooms, and it's going to have a richer flavor. So that's why I let it go 12 hours. Yeah, if you wanted to let it go longer, you could. Now I'm just going to strain this. So I'm going to run it through the strainer into a stainless steel bowl. I'm going to use these mushrooms for soup, or you can use them for toppings for rice and other stuff. These retain a lot of the salt that was put into the solution, so you definitely you can use these for you can use your mushrooms for other things. I made a cut of this coarsely woven fabric. You could use anything that's fairly mesh, that's not too fine. Mainly you just want to get the big particles of the mushroom out. Pour it in there. Okay, now it's fairly strained. What's going to happen is that as this cools off, the fines are going to settle to the bottom, and then this will clarify. After this is room temperature, I'm going to put it in the refrigerator and let it chill down really well before I cover it up. So this has been sitting in the refrigerator for a while, and you can see it's separated out. So here I've got a good Japanese soy sauce bottle that I reuse. I'm going to carefully tilt this and try not to stir up that sediment too much. I'm going to go about halfway with my mushroom stuff here. This is some nice organic tamari that I got at People's Co-op. So I'm going to fill it up to the top with the rest of this. So I'm going to just put the top back on. Screw it down tight. Swirl it. That's it. Yum yum.